Welcome to episode 18 of the official GeekSpeak podcast. I'm your host, Sean, and joined as always is my co-host, Josh, prequel hater, Rudy Rudolph. This is the podcast where we watch movies, make movies, play games, and more. What else can you ask for? And this week we're joined by our guest, 22-year-old filmmaker, TikToker, and YouTuber, Sinjun Chapman. Welcome to the show, Sinjun.
Hey, how's it going?
Tell us a bit about yourself.
Like you said, I'm 22. I'm an aspiring filmmaker. I'm a senior in film school right now, and I have a TikTok and I have a YouTube where I talk about movies and pop culture and stuff.
It's really great to have you on. We've been mutual in TikTok for months now. It's nice to actually have you on the show now and talk about our love of film.
Mm-hmm. Can I ask, are you talking about the Star Wars prequels as me hating
prequels?
Prequels in general.
You hate prequels.
I don't necessarily agree with that.
Star Wars prequels?
Sure.
Okay. So normally every episode we go through a different Disney Channel original movie, or DCOM for short, and we'll see in a short period of time the biggest media company on earth, Disney, caters towards solely children with a large sample size, and we'll see any quality changes, etc. This episode we talk about Up, and Away, which is a superhero film, and that'll be inserted right here. We interrupt your podcast with Sinjun, our guest, to bring you Up, and Away.
Wow.
Like we said a minute ago, this is actually being inserted in the middle of recording. This is recorded days later.
What do you mean? This is recorded at the same time.
Crazy. Our guest disappeared?
Of course.
Or just being very quiet.
Exactly.
We will get back to the news with Sinjun right after this. Until then, we watched a Disney Channel original movie, Josh, called Up, and Away. The last one we watched was Horse Sense. This one's different.
Yeah.
The basic plot of this is Sky High and Incredibles 2.
But with very cheap costumes.
And worse performances.
Yeah.
This villain has no flair. No style, nothing fun, but baggy shirts, that's all he needs.
Look, the style of the early 2000s is there, but overall, it's a very...
This is the first DCOM of the 2000s.
And their first time doing a superhero movie. It's not great.
Maybe their last.
Yeah.
I don't know. Josh, what do you think happened in this movie?
So superheroes all exist in this world. It's a fairly normal thing. And this kid, his whole family has superpowers. Little sister has laser eyes. His brother is very fast and also has lightning. His dad is called the Bronze Eagle. He could fly and has strength and stuff. And his mom, she has speed, but only on the bike and strength. He does not have his powers. He is the black sheep of the family. He is a disappointment because he does not have his powers yet. But when he begins to think, I can lie about this, it gets him into a world of hurt not supervillains, when bad people decide they're going to use, how do I put this?
Mind control computer discs.
Mind control computer discs to make the earth greener to take over the world.
No. They trick someone, I think, who program it to, in their eyes, make the earth greener.
Still.
So the villain, looking at Randy's best. Randy is the best character. We watched this with our roommate who had not watched any of the previous DCOMs because they were just curious what it was like. Like, this is a fun one. Yeah, it is fun. It's just
I wouldn't say I had fun. I was just present.
It's this one, I think, is one of the earlier target demographics age-wise than the other ones.
But this came out the same year as X-Men, but I think in January, so before X-Men had come out. So the template of how to do superhero movies well didn't really exist yet. There were ways to do it, but this film clearly wanted to do its own kind of thing.
I think this is still a good step for superhero movies from where it was in the time. Previous movies we have the 90s Fantastic Four movie, which I've seen most of, and that's interesting. We have the old 70s and 80s Captain America. Trying to do, especially for a kids movie kind of budget, they did it's okay.
I wouldn't recommend it to children.
No,
there are better superhero movies aimed for children.
I think it's also was made for toddlers. I think this one was made for little children, but it certainly happened.
Yes. Do we want to talk about? No, before we get started with the insanity, I want to talk about some of the filmmaking process behind it. There are many times in the film where a character either says or does something, but it happens off screen. But it's a thing that we should see. One of the first instances was the kid is practicing soccer in his room. His dad opens the door to walk in and say hi or whatever. He kicks the ball to his dad. We hear the dad get hit and fall down, but we don't see it. Now, why do we not see that? I don't know. But they clearly forgot some shots. And they do this many times.
I don't remember any of that. But that's fascinating.
Yes.
Basic plot. So the crux of the story is this kid is supposed to get his powers when he turns 13. 14. Why is his little sister able to have her powers so young? That's not explained because
it's not supposed to happen at 14, but it's like
by 14.
By 14 is when it should happen.
That's gonna suck. So the story starts really he's at his middle school with his friend Randy and the soccer girl who he likes, who likes him.
They have, but it's the kids rivalry. Like, I hate you. Secretly, I like you too.
It's like Helga and Arnold. Crazy. You know what, Hey Arnold?
I was about to ask who that was, and I realized.
Just Helga, just some random girl named Helga.
That's why I was confused.
They're at school, and then this like CEO tech billionaire like Lex Luthor type, who's not all like Lex Luthor, but like they're clearly modeling off that evil billionaire idea. But instead, his guy's like, we just wear baggy t-shirts and
evil billionaire in millennial form.
She was certainly something. And he comes to the school to give a presentation and have these kids test this new software. It's just homework for them basically, but they just put a new disk and test and see if it works and report back. That's the idea. They do it every day or week. It's kind of unclear the timeline. The disks are the company is testing mind control. The idea is that their programmer made a disk. They told the programmer, we're going to use this to help make the earth greener and better and more healthy, and we're going to save the trees.
For context, she knew this was mind control as well.
Yeah, because the first test was just to have them all wear blue. Nothing more than that. And it worked. That was fine.
But the fact that no one was just like, this is very weird.
Right. So that's why I think that like she was more on board because it was just small mind control, I guess. Not that it's better. I mean, it is better a little bit. But anyway, of course, mind controlling children is not a great plan in general. Don't mind control your kids. I know if you have the ability to do that, don't do it.
If you are, why?
I want to know how you're doing it though. I'm kind of curious.
I don't think we need this information spread on our podcast.
Anyway, the billionaire is like, we can do so much good things with this. But then he realizes that one of the kids' parents is superheroes, a bronze eagle and fast woman.
I
don't know if they said her name. They probably did.
I don't think they did.
And so he's like, let's give that kid a special disc and have him specifically give it to his parents. And they switch the discs and it's crazy hijinks. We know it was him though. It happened. Their weaknesses of superheroes is tinfoil.
Stupid. The first instance we learn of their weakness is tinfoil. The friend Randy comes over. It's in the morning. He's like, we got to go to school. And the kid's like, oh, okay. By the way, here's some zucchini bread for your family. The whole family just backs up out of fear from it. I first thought that it was zucchini bread, that they were allergic, that zucchini was their kryptonite. And I thought that's stupid, but then it's tinfoil. Still very stupid.
I think it's fine.
How are they supposed to learn that tinfoil is a weakness? At least kryptonite is very specific and makes sense in the lore. This is tinfoil, a thing you buy at the grocery store. I don't know, man. Spider-Man, Superman, all of them exist in this world.
Yeah, we'll touch on that. So at one point, Grandpa, the main kid, who's a really cool character, he's the one good person in this movie.
He's also a bit of an idiot.
Yeah, but he's a good person.
Yeah.
So the grandpa says, "Oh, we just had dinner with Mary Jane and Peter and Spider-Man." Like, you did what with who? They also mentioned Fantastic Four
and Superman.
Yep,
as well as Clark Kent.
Yep.
So clearly, whoever wrote this and made it did not know that there was a difference between the two universes. And also, I guess DC and Marvel at the time was just like, who cares?
You could reference superheroes all the time in movies,
but this is specifically about superheroes, though.
That is weird.
Kick-Ass gets away with it because it's set in the real world. Yes, there are quote unquote superheroes in there, but it's still set in the real world.
You can say Superman almost any media, almost anything. Even Superman, like Spider-Man and Eternals both mention Superman by name. You're not Superman, you know. And then it's like, oh, you Superman? No, there's someone else, or whatever.
Spider-Man, yeah, that one I don't get. Well, no, never mind.
It's the same thing. Superman is big enough. It's like saying Jesus in a thing now. You can just do that, which is crazy. That Superman has Jesus status.
Well, isn't it cool. Also in the comics that DC Comics exists in Marvel and Marvel vice versa?
Yes, which is also kind of fun. Plot. It's there.
It's not
the worst part of the plot. The saddest part of the plot is that there's a giant party with all the superheroes in town, and this little kid is trying to explain to his dad, "I don't actually have powers yet," and they keep cutting him off and not letting him explain it. So he has pressure to just lie, and they all force him to try and go save a woman from a burning building.
He successfully does.
With a bit of a mishap.
Yeah.
It's like, this is hard to watch, but it's fine.
Also, it is very evident that they just grabbed some random costumes from parts of different sets. Like there's just a guy that's like a Roman soldier, like, and there's a guy just like with big giant puffed up chest. I think I saw someone that looked like a detective in there. And this is just in a normal suburban neighborhood. So like, how does that work? Do they all just like take a taxi and walk through the front door? How does this work?
Yeah. That's nonsense.
They're both very bad and also somehow very good at hiding their identities.
The best performance in the movie was in the second half from Randy. It was the best friend Randy in the first half was like, you're kind of annoying. The second half is he goes batshit insane and he goes along with the whole superhero thing. And it's so much fun watching him have chaos.
It was funny. There's a part in the chaos near the end. He's just saying like random noises and stuff. It almost sounded like he said the N-word. He didn't, but it almost sounded like because
I
of
don't know how you heard of that.
I wasn't the only one that heard it. Owen also heard it.
I heard nothing. So, yay or nay?
I'm gonna be a nay. This idea has been done better, but like even in context of the time, like it's still not entertaining. It's not that interesting to watch.
If I was 8 years old in 2000, I might be like, this is kind of fun.
I'd be like, can I put on the Spider-Man cartoon, Mom?
Fair enough. This movie is more confusing in the world itself. I want more information about the superheroes and how it works. It's a little odd.
Yes. I will say, I am happy that they stuck to their guns and didn't give the kid powers by the end of the film.
That was the best part. Sky High couldn't even do that. And I love Sky High.
Well, Sky High happened pretty early on.
Yeah, but like both powers still. Like you didn't need to give them all. Like, it's fun. Sky High is fantastic though.
Yeah.
This
weird how that movie holds up so well.
Our next movie is The Color of Friendship.
That's an interesting one I've heard of.
Won an NAACP award.
Yes.
It has won numerous awards for the way it tackles racism around kids. And I'm so curious because the poster looks like it's going to either be fantastic or hella racist. I'm leaning towards fantastic at this point.
Yeah, from what I've heard, it is the fantastic. Is from what I've heard. Now, the actual quality of it, I don't know. But as far as the representation talking about that stuff, I heard it's pretty good.
Which is so fascinating because it's still the year 2000 and it's Disney and they've made interesting progress in the world at times.
It's very clear at this point in time, they're just throwing random money at random things, just being like, what's going to stick and what isn't?
Remember, in the year 2000, they made 12 DCOMs. We'll get to all of them. Just give it a minute. We'll get there eventually. Anyway, hey, Sinjun. We're talking to Sinjun now. Sinjun Chapman. He's a dude. Go check out his TikToks. Here we are with him now. Welcoming to the stage, Sinjun Chapman. Woo!
Is it time to go back to the news, Sean?
That was a transition.
Oh, there was a transition.
That's why I just edited two of them.
But isn't this a transition now?
Sinjun! He's back!
This is called a bit.
No, I was being completely real just at each time. Welcome us back to say hi, Sinjun. Josh, he's back.
So,
ow, we're here. Cool, what a good discussion.
What a discussion that was.
And then now we have the news and then a main topic. And Sinjun, you've read your first comic book now, right?
Yes, I have.
Woo! What'd you read?
It was Daredevil, Man Without Fear.
Nice. You like it?
Yeah, it was really, really good.
Nice. I have actually not read. I know the exact story of what happens in it, but I've never actually read it.
Is that the one by Frank Miller?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. It's a cool story. It's about his origin mostly, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I definitely need to read it. I stopped reading comic books a while ago because school started, and then I'm like, I need to get back on that.
Mm-hmm.
Like the freshman year of here and like senior year of high school, I had Marvel Unlimited. So I just like read so much stuff. Yeah. And then I stopped. Then I got DC Universe when that was a thing. And then that fell apart very fast.
Yeah.
What an idea for an app that was poorly executed.
So let's talk about some news that happened recently, including the first piece of news is that Doctor Strange 2 is officially being called to be 2 hours and 6 minutes long. What do you think of this?
I think that it should be fine. Sam Raimi, I trust him as a filmmaker and that he'll tell what he needs to with this. And we've been getting a lot of really long movies lately, just in general. So to have something that's just like a crisp 2 hours, I'm fine with. I think he'll do fine with this.
I know a lot of fans have been like having an uproar about it's not 3 hours long. How could they? I'm like, just calm down. I need to pee in a theater. Please let me pee.
I think that the 2 hour runtime is good, because I think 3 hours would be too much, even though this movie is probably going to be jam-packed with a bunch of stuff. We do have the first Doctor Strange movie, we have Endgame, we have No Way Home, we have the entire WandaVision series building up to this. So there's not going to be a lot of exposition in this movie. I feel like it's just going to start out right with whatever's about to happen, you know?
Yeah, I am excited to see more of Mordo as well, who we've not seen since 2016.
I'm happy that they didn't just like cast him aside, because I thought that like when it teased him as the villain at the end of the film that he wasn't going to show up in the sequel, but they're actually bringing him back, and that makes me very happy.
So glad. Overall, we give news a yay or a nay, because all of art and film is subjective, and it comes back to what we want to see in the world. So I'm going to give it a yay. I want more shorter movies, and this is like not even a short; it's like a normal runtime.
I'll give it a yay too. I'm excited.
I don't want Snyder cut length movies, please.
I'll give it a yay too.
All right, and then next up on the news is that last episode we came out today. Actually, last episode we talked about Ezra Miller's arrest and the rampant chaos that happened. It was mentioned because it affects franchises, and now we're talking about now the effect of the franchises that happened. Because officially, it looks like WB has put a halt on Ezra Miller as an actor.
That's probably the wisest move to save face, just in case. Because like you never know how this is all going to go down, and like The Flash has been in production for almost a decade now, so like any chances of a sequel happening, we probably wouldn't have seen it for about 15 years. So like, what's really changing here?
So the official news is coming from, I think, Rolling Stone. Let me double check that. Yes, saying that Ezra Miller, WB said they won't be using them in any projects going forward for now, at least until they reevaluate what's going to happen and have like an emergency meeting about the future of both The Flash as well as Fantastic Beasts. I think The Flash is a very, very easy loophole to this problem, because it's about fixing the timeline. All you have to do is when the timeline is fixed at the end, shoot one new scene with a new actor and say Barry looks different now. That's all you have to do. Or say Barry was erased and Wally's there now and say what happened and go after that. That's really easy to fix in universe. Fantastic Beasts.
I mean, if they could recast Johnny Depp with Mads Mikkelsen and like probably no explanation, they can do the same thing with Ezra Miller.
Yeah.
Or to say that they're disguised now with magic going forward. Who knows?
The DC universe is so in this weird nebula right now that they can recast anybody and it wouldn't really matter.
Out of their Super 7, which was actually 6 people, Henry's not really there anymore. Ben's not there anymore. Ray's not there anymore. Ezra's not going to be there anymore. We have Gal and Jason. That's it. They're 6 league members.
They're holding on by a thread with the DC.
Yeah, it's a mess. And I want to see them succeed. I like DC as like, these characters. I love to see them grow and flourish, but what?
But hey, they're bringing back Keaton for Batman.
Why? This man's in his 70s. He cannot continue as Batman going forward.
When it was just The Flash, I was fine with it.
Sure.
But then casting him as Batgirl, I was like, okay, what's happening here?
I said last time that he might be there's a rumor now for their plan of DCU to lead up to a Crisis on Infinite Earths movie, and then have that movie they kill off Keaton and bring in Pattinson as their new Batman. On paper, it makes sense, like as an idea.
Execution wise,
what are you thinking? What is happening?
Emo Batman is just going to be like, what is happening? Where's my Nirvana?
You've seen the Batman, right?
Oh yeah,
great film.
I think, I don't know. I loved Pattinson. I loved the Batman, but I do think it works really well only as a solo project, because I feel like his interpretation of Batman isn't really the leader type Batman necessarily, and maybe he can grow into that.
Yeah,
but
it's still like year 3.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, he has to go through some growth before he can become a leader or like a good member of a team like that.
He still wears his sunglasses inside. He's got a bit of work to do.
Yeah.
So this Batman could get there in 10 years.
Yeah.
But give it a minute.
Yeah.
So Ezra Miller being halted in WB, yay or nay? Yay, because it's a smart move, but like, get help, Ezra.
I'll give it an indifferent yay, because we also don't know everything
right
about the whole situation. I will say the funniest thing to come out from that was them drunkenly in a bar shouting, "I know Dumbledore's secrets."
Yeah, that's the best part.
Yeah, I think it was smart for them to halt just for, PR reasons. We'll see what decision they come to with Ezra. I'll give it an indifferent.
Okay, yeah, I think that for this decision, they also might do what Disney did and WB did, like pushing actors aside for now, let them have some time to rebuild it themselves. Then we're rehiring you, like James Gunn style, depending on how bad or how much help they get. Like if they could turn their lives around. We don't know. And like RDJ, for instance, we saw their entire life change. Like things can happen, but give it time.
Yeah.
Let them sit away for a while and come back when they've had a break.
I guess it's good that the Flash got pushed back to next year, so that gives them time.
Yeah. Okay. Next up is about recently a new game came out that you played a lot, the Lego Skywalker Saga game.
Yes.
Have you played it at all yet? Do you have this game?
No, I don't have it yet.
I'm so jealous. I want to have this game now.
It is a lot of fun. Anyone that loves Star Wars of any kind, whether it's prequels, sequels, original, whatever, there's something to enjoy. It is a lot of fun. It's also very funny, which I was very happy with.
Hearing that some people are just ignoring the sequel part of the game is wild to me. Like you bought a game and you're ignoring a third of the content because you hate because you hate Rey or whatever. What? Insane.
It
looks really fun.
Yeah, it does look fun. I remember I played one of the Lego Star Wars from the prequel era, and I remember having so much fun with that one. Hopefully I'll get it eventually when I have money.
Yeah, I understand the feeling. I loved both original Star Wars games and the complete saga, which is both of them. I missed the no dialogue completely, just the comedic energy of trying to come up with how to show what a scene is like without using words was always fun. I know you can have mumble mode on this, where you can turn off the dialogue and have just mumbling, but they're still mumbling the dialogue, and they're still subtitles, like the cutscenes didn't change around it. I don't know. It looks cool though. Yeah, and more fun games for kids to enjoy Star Wars. Star Wars should be for everyone, not toxic people. Like that one TikTok where they're calling Rey an interesting word, which has gone everywhere now.
I made 2 videos on that video, and I'm already sick of it. I'm so done with seeing that video.
I have it saved to make a response to. I don't care anymore. I'm deleting that.
Yeah.
Not needed. But yeah, Star Wars. Here's news. Have you ever watched the Fast and the Furious series?
I've seen 2 of the movies, and I don't know which 2. If that tells you
That's fine.
how much I'm in this franchise.
One of my mutuals, Marley, would get very upset with you over that.
Yeah. Oh, cut that part out. Don't let Marley hear.
But I will say I've seen 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think that's all I've seen. It was in a span of about 2 days. It was a fever dream and a blur. They were like one movie of nonsense, and I don't know which was which. I do know that at one point they drove cars through skyscrapers in Dubai.
That's one of the ones I've seen.
Nice.
I've seen that one.
I've seen one where someone dies by a plane.
That was 6.
Cool.
I have seen
I
them
might have
all.
seen that one too.
I love the series.
So the news about this is that Brie Larson is joining the Fast series in Fast 10 alongside Jason Momoa, who's also joining. As someone's brother?
He is the villain.
Oh.
People are joking that he'll be like another long-lost sibling of Vin Diesel, but there's no confirmation on that yet.
I think Brie Larson should be also a villain.
The long-lost sister. He's already got a sister. Well, let's have another sister.
Jason Momoa and Brie Larson are actually twin brother and sister, and they're the long-lost brother and sister of Vin Diesel.
They met in space. But I'm gonna be a yay to Brie Larson joining this. This is so much fun.
I love this series, and the more insane it gets, the better it gets in my eyes. And like having Jason Momoa and Brie Larson join, it's gonna be even more fun now.
Every time we talk about this, I keep reminding people that this series started out with stealing DVD players. That was the first plot of the first movie, is we're stealing DVD players after drag racing.
Mm-hmm.
And now they went to space in F9. I am fine with this.
And there's a spin-off of their superheroes.
Sort of. It's weird, but yes.
But yay on Brie Larson doing anything. She's awesome.
Indeed.
Yeah, I think both Brie Larson and Jason Momoa are great additions to it. They're both great action actors.
I want to see Brie Larson bring the energy she did from Unicorn Store into this, because that film was a nonsense fun blast. I want that again.
I just want all of Jason Momoa's dialogue in this to be all of his like loud yelling from Justice League, like
My man,
my man.
hell yeah. Yay.
Yay.
Have you ever read or watched Percy Jackson?
I've read the first book of Percy Jackson. I'm not a very big reader, but I've read the first book and I've seen the two. There are only two movies, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've seen both of those.
I'm reading the first book right now. I was reading it before this was like a huge show being announced. I was like, I'm casually picked up, like, this seems fun. Because I remember as a kid in like third grade, I skimmed through it to read it for a class. I never read it for the class. I said I'm reading it for the class.
Yeah.
I'm like, sure. This one detail, I remember that. I'm enjoying it. It's fun. The movie is different.
Don't get me started on
The
that
movie is very different. My favorite scene in the movie is still the casino scene.
At 10 years old, that was the first time I got mad at a movie because of how different it was. I was just like, why are you doing this? And seeing Chris Columbus directed it, and he made the first two Harry Potter films, which are very accurate, and to go from that to this, that made me unhappy.
I question more the writers than him.
I don't know whose decision it was. The first film is not that good. Second film, surprisingly better.
Why was he like 17?
Yeah.
Because you gotta get that.
I want to see a child go through this trauma. Okay. Show me the 13-year-old crying right now.
Well, speaking of that, the news here is that Walter Scobell, who was in the Adam Project as young Ryan Reynolds, was just cast as young Percy Jackson.
Why has young Percy Jackson.
Oh yeah,
it's age accurate
of the correct age Percy Jackson. I like that he looks, besides like dark hair, exactly like Percy. He has like the curly hair. He has like the youthful nature, obviously. But like I have not watched Adam Project yet. You said you watched it?
I have watched it. He was fantastic in that. He very much played off a young Ryan Reynolds very well. He's great at playing a smart ass, but he's also great at like having a lot of heart to him. So I think that he'll be great for Percy.
I have heard him in interviews, and the amount of just like bullshit sass he gives everyone is fantastic. It's so Percy.
He has the entirety of Deadpool 2 memorized.
I know.
It's great.
And I think the best part of it is that Percy Jackson is so different character-wise from the book to the movie in personality. Like, he is sassy, rude, like conceited, and like trying his best. And then Logan Lerman is just like, I'm here. Let's go on an adventure.
Movie, he's just like, what's going on? Why am I here? Who are you? Why am I here?
And they had to follow these like weird like little crystal balls in the movie that like guide them, like the Triforce. It's so weird. And this is just like, it's just like finding the Horcruxes, and it works so well. I love it. The book so far is really fun. There's some nonsense stuff in it for sure. Like, I don't know how a giant echidna monster is disguised as a dog, or how the satyr hid his leg so well, or the centaur who was in a wheelchair.
The answer is carefully.
Did you enjoy the first book though you read?
Yeah, I really loved it. I want to read more, but I have like really bad ADHD. All of my entire bookshelf is just a bunch of books with bookmarks in the middle of them because I just cannot finish a book to save my life. But I loved of what I read. I loved it, and I did go through a Greek mythology phase where I was insufferable in middle school. So I did like the books.
Are you happy with this casting?
I am. I saw the Adam Project. He did really good.
And they also cast what is probably then Luke. An actor posted on Instagram a page of the script. And it had on there was Percy, Grover, and Luke were the only dialogue. And the actor was like 16, 17, so he's probably getting Luke. Cool. I wish reading the book now, I didn't know the spoilers from the movie, because there's good setup that I'm like, that would have been better if I just knew that.
Yeah.
Talking about like the stuff with Luke.
Yeah. I also really am excited to watch this child go through this trauma, because I know what happens to this character in the series. I've been around for 22 years. It's like I get to hear, that happens to this 12-year-old. That's fun.
the third book, some insane shit happens, man. There's a lot.
I'm excited to see in episode 1 or 2 of this child watch his mom get like destroyed by a minotaur.
Oh yeah.
And like in the second episode, I'm like, hell yeah, let's go. I think each season will be one of the books, by the way.
That's probably how they'll do it.
Yeah. So that's fun.
smart.
So yay, Walter Scope. Well,
Yay.
Walker Scope.
Yay.
Walter. Yay. Next up is news about the MCU. There's always news about the MCU. It's never ending. Sam Bailey and Angela Barnes are set to direct the Ironheart series for Disney Plus. Ryan Coogler will be the executive producer. So I don't know what they've directed, honestly. I am appreciating there's not white men directing the series.
Yes, that's a plus.
That is what I wanted for this so badly. Ironheart, if you don't know, is a 16-year-old Riri Williams, after the passing of Tony Stark, inherited some of the Stark tech and became her own Iron Man kind of character. And she's really cool and badass. And she leads some Avengers, like Young Avengers team, and it's really cool. And I enjoy having first off, any more representation is fantastic. She's a young Black woman, and getting to see a young Black woman be this awesome genius is always cool to see. Have you seen them direct anything before, Josh?
I like about they mostly have done TV stuff. So
cool.
This works.
Give them more chances to do things. I love that. I want to find new directors all the time.
I like them directing it. I do wish it was a movie, just because I feel like the movies get a little bit more attention in the shows, and having this type of representation and seeing like Miss Marvel being on there. But I'm assuming it's going to eventually connect into a movie. So we'll see Ironheart on the big screen eventually, hopefully.
I'm willing to bet there's a way, because like Miss Marvel, she's going to be one of the main characters in the Marvels movie. So that'll tie in at some point with that. And then Ironheart, they've got plans, or maybe they don't. We don't really know how Marvel does it. It seems like they've been doing it on a whim, but they've been doing a good job with it being on a whim.
I agree. I think most of the things, I don't want them to make all these shows in the first place, because I want them to be mostly the movies. But so it's way easier to come up. It's way easier to keep up with 2 or 3 movies a year than it is to keep up with all these shows and all the movies. I know people have already dropped off the MCU because there's too much content now to keep up with.
Yeah.
Or if you go to theater twice a year, that's doable. But watching these weekly episodes, it's a lot. So I understand that. Also, she'll probably appear in Armor Wars as well, or like Secret Invasion stuff, which is also cool. I think wherever Don Cheadle goes, she'll probably end up going with the same places.
Wasn't there like a report that she was going to make her first appearance in some other show or movie first?
Yeah, I think she's appearing in Armor Wars first.
Okay, but have they started filming that yet?
I have no idea. I'm not Kevin Feige.
I have no idea what's in production now, what's already been filmed, when, where. I just know when the movies are coming out generally.
And I watch them in theaters.
Yeah, exactly.
I think Kevin Feige's diet is just caffeine and cocaine. That's all it is. That's the only way that he can sustain all this somehow.
Oh yeah.
Yay. Give us more good projects.
Yeah, absolutely. Yay.
Let's talk about Top Gun 2. I've not watched Top Gun 1, but the news is interesting. So the director shot 800 hours of footage, as much as the 3 Lord of the Rings movies together, for Top Gun 2 Maverick.
I mean, it makes sense, because they filmed all like the jet and flying stuff practically. Like that was all done realistically, and that stuff goes very fast. It's very hard to get the accurate shots. So like, it makes sense. I'm not saying that it's insane, but I'm saying it makes sense in the very least.
I think 800 hours is still a bit extreme for that. Just my takeaway.
Well, we also don't know how long the film itself is yet.
800 hours long. It's in real time.
That's certainly a choice.
Have you watched the first Top Gun?
Not yet, but I've heard it's
Have you?
No.
Cool.
I've heard it's one of those like 80s classic movies, and I'll see it before the sequel comes out.
I don't like Tom Cruise, so I don't want to watch him in things.
Yeah.
He's kind of not my favorite person. But the sheer audacity of saying we're going to make as much footage as the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
I don't think that was their intention. No. It just happened.
Who is the AD scheduling this? Yeah. What is their brain like?
I feel so sorry for them. Just like, okay, we've done 12 hours. How many shots did we get? 6.
Apparently one 12-hour day was 30 seconds of footage in the film. And that's
okay.
I cannot handle that. Like, you've worked on film sets before, right?
Yeah.
How does it usually go for you?
What do you mean, how does it go for me?
Like timeline wise.
How many shots have you either stuff that you've directed or been on other sets? What's the timeline of how many shots you usually get done?
So the stuff I direct, I'm not a very do 50 million takes type of director. So mine tend to be on the shorter side. I also very prepared all the time, of course. So it doesn't usually take me that long, but when I was on like big sets, I would like lose my mind with how many times they shot the same scene, and it just took forever on a lot of the bigger sets. So
Yeah. I've done sets to go 14 and 15 hours, 16 hours. Like,
Mhm.
that's too much. I also want sets to go like 5 hours. Like, that's way better. Let's just have that time. My sets, like, one day is usually about 8 to 10 hours because that's like a pretty standard, like industry standard, and I try and get as much done as I can one day.
Mhm.
And then shit always hits the fan, and things always go wrong. You prepare as much as you can, and it's like, cool. We weren't expecting these things to happen. Awesome.
Yeah, over or last weekend, I was DPing on a short film, and the entire film was set outside.
Oh,
And the last day, the entire time before lunch, we didn't get a single usable shot because there were dogs barking and
Oh.
kids screeching in their backyard, and we didn't get one shot with good audio. So then after lunch, apparently the kids went back inside, and we just like, get the shot, get the shot, get the shot, go, go, go.
I'm giving this news a nay because I feel like despite doing things practical, it's still too much for Top Gun Maverick, a movie that is a sequel movie that came out like 30 years ago.
I'll give it a day because it has now really piqued my curiosity.
Okay.
Like, when I see the film, will it have been worth it to have this much footage? Like the amount that they've gotten.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of like Avatar, like James Cameron's Avatar. Like,
The wrong Avatar.
there's
Go
still
on.
people excited for it. Like, I know people like
excited
Top
for
Gun.
Avatar 2. That's the thing.
I know people like Top Gun. I know people like Avatar, but are they like super excited?
The better Avatar.
Oh yeah.
I think like the fans of the first Top Gun will obviously be excited for this, but like, our generation, we haven't really seen Top Gun that much at all. So like anyone that sees it will be going more for Tom Cruise because of like the Mission Impossible films.
Yeah.
Have you watched anything with Emma Mackey in it before, Josh?
Yeah.
What do you watch there?
Sex Education, great show on Netflix, and Death on the Nile, very Met movie. But
existed.
But yes, Sex Education, if you haven't watched it on Netflix, very good. She's great in it. And I love the fact that she's now cast in the Barbie movie.
That's the news.
Because a joke on the internet since Sex Education came out is that she looks just like Margot Robbie.
And now she's in the market with Margot Robbie.
So now it makes me curious. Is she playing like a other version of Margot Robbie in the film just for this one joke?
Maybe it's a bunch of Margot Robbie lookalikes who are all like just Barbie dolls. Have you seen Emma Mackey in anything yourself?
If I do, I don't remember.
All right. Well, she's been cast in the Barbie movie. This movie is, no matter what I hear, is a yay for me because it's Greta Gerwig directing. It's a satirical Barbie movie about femininity, starring Margot Robbie. That's a cool premise to me.
Yeah.
I'm so down.
Oh yeah, I did see Death on the Nile.
Comedy role again.
You saw Death on the Nile?
Yeah, that's what I've seen already.
I'm so sorry.
It was fine. It was
Yeah.
it was enjoyable.
How long did it take you to figure out who the murderer was?
I don't think I've ever watched a murder mystery and guessed correctly. So never. I didn't figure it out until it actually revealed.
I never get it, but I think I was so bored throughout the movie that I was just looking for anything, and like I was just like, is it really this person? It can't be. And then when it happened, I was just like, oh, it was. And I guessed it.
Yeah.
Oh no, that's a bad sign.
I appreciate the mustache on Kenneth Branagh though.
I love that they gave the mustache a backstory.
Wait, they did?
They did. It's great.
Yeah, the mustache has a backstory.
Now I need to watch this movie for that one reason. So yay on Emma Mackey joining Barbie.
Yay.
All right, and let's go to some Kevin Conroy news that surprised apparently the whole internet. People didn't know he was openly gay.
I didn't.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's been openly gay for like over a decade or something now.
Oh.
But Batman voice actor Kevin Conroy will be writing a segment for the DC Pride this year, comic special with art by Ajitya Bitikar. I don't know how to pronounce the name. I'm so sorry. And Jay Bone. The segment is called Finding Batman, and it's described as a personal story. Conroy was one of the first openly gay men to play a superhero, so it's going to have basically his own voice and the story of how he found the character and what the character's like. And that sounds really cool, actually.
Yeah, that does sound cool.
Yay.
Yay.
So, well, yay. Yeah. Cool. That's the news. Let's talk about the main topic today, which is about movie masterpieces. So this comes from the idea that Sinjun on his TikTok page is doing a whole series about this. on movies he's given 5 stars in Letterboxd, right? Or just in general.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so we get to see about what you think about movies and what you think are like perfect films, and let's discuss because film is amazing and we don't appreciate it enough sometimes. So, what is one of your perfect films, either of you?
I'll start out by doing something that
Morbius.
Shut up. One that I feel like that not enough people have seen or given enough credit for, Paddington 2. And I mean this completely sincerely. I think that movie is a genuine masterpiece.
It's no Citizen Kane.
It's better than Citizen Kane. It is so heartwarming. It is so charming. The filmmaking behind it is so good. The jokes are immaculate. It's great. And then what's his face? Mad Eye Moody, isn't it? He's amazing. It's very, very good.
Brendan Gleeson.
Brendan Gleeson, that's who he is. He plays his character is called Knuckles McGinty, and I love it.
Love it. I've only seen the first Paddington, and it's great. I wasn't like obsessed. Like I don't think it was perfect for me. So is the second one better? You said?
Oh yes.
Okay, cool. Well, yeah, what's the perfect film to you?
So obviously that's a tough question. I'm gonna go with Into the Spider-Verse because I feel like one criteria, this isn't the only criteria for a perfect film, but one of them is doing every part of the filmmaking process amazingly, like sound, visual, cinematography, acting, like everything. And I feel like Into the Spider-Verse, every single gear in the machine of that movie is absolutely perfect. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. It's mine as well. Like when I first saw it, I'm like, I loved it, but I didn't treat it as a masterpiece when I first watched it. Like it didn't hit me of how like masterful this was immediately. It's so good. You can like screenshot almost any frame and it looks like a poster. Like you can anything. It's really cool. One of my favorite films of all time is Good Will Hunting. That's like my favorite film. Like my top 4 films, like Good Will Hunting, Dead Poet Society, The Avengers, and Princess Bride.
That's a good top 4.
I'm so happy with those top 4. And I think that all 4 of those are pretty much perfect films. But I want to talk about specifically why The Princess Bride is a perfect film to me. Because like, if you tell someone that I think it's perfect now, like a lot of people who if they haven't seen it, like, what the fuck? Because it's like I know people have not seen this movie and like watch like a trailer or see a poster like this looks dumb and cheesy. It is dumb and cheesy, but in the best way.
Is this a kissing book?
It treats the idea of a fairy tale story so earnestly and sincerely. It's like beautiful, and it really is a bunch of genres, which is fantastic. Like it's adventure, romance, pirates, action, adventure. It is like comedy works so well in ways that it shouldn't work very well. There's like every line is so iconic, you can say. At this point, it's not even because like the lines are perfect in the way they're written, but the way they're delivered is just so fun. Like the Battle of Wits, fantastic scene.
Of that scene. That scene was like it pops up on my TikTok just randomly every single time I watch it all the way through because the Battle of Wits is so good.
And I love Fezzik the Giant so much. It's just like Inigo Montoya. I quote him about once a week. Because I have to. It's so needed. Or just As You Wish, an iconic line. And it shouldn't be. But it's the way everyone does everything with such sincerity that makes it work so well.
It's cheesy, but they have this like X factor in it where you can tell that they actually care about the project and that they're putting a lot into it. And it does have this sincerity and earnesty to it that is really undeniable, even if you don't like the fantasy genre. There's something about all of their performances that are,
like Billy Crystal and his wife as the medical people, the revival workers, right? Like the miracle workers, as they are, and their constant bickering back and forth while trying to revive a dead body is fantastic. Like to blave, he's not saying true love, he's saying to blave. It's to bluff. He's gambling. He lost some money. Like it's just they take moments that could have been a simple miracle worker reviving a body and like sling a sweet, but instead let's throw in a marriage problems because it's funny. There's really small details that just work so well, and the director is a New Girl as Jess's dad.
Yeah. Oh my god, I watched New Girl for the first time like last year. I binged all the way through it, and I saw the name Rob Reiner pop up in the credits. I was like, the name sounds familiar. And then I look it up and I'm like, wait, he was in The Princess Bride? Who is he? And I was like, he directed it? And then I was like, oh my god, that's Rob Reiner.
Yeah.
It's a very, very good movie. And I remember when the lockdown happened and it was announced that Quibi was remaking The Princess Bride. I was very worried on multiple levels, but then it turned out that it was just like a whole movie version of it, just like with like tons and tons of celebrities playing all the different parts. I was just like, okay, that is a genius idea. And I watched it. I got Quibi, not for that. But when Quibi was alive, I had watched it and it's very fun. I think you can find it all on YouTube now, I think.
Yeah.
But yes, it is very enjoyable.
I'm shocked at how well put together it is for when it was made and the budget and like the genres they're trying to accomplish. It shouldn't have worked, but it's so beautiful. So what is another movie masterpiece in your eyes?
So another thing that makes me feel like a movie is a masterpiece is I call it the post-masterpiece stare. It's when I finish a movie, I'm just staring at the wall like, holy crap, that was amazing. And there's so many like technical things that we could talk about why a movie is amazing, but sometimes it's just like a movie punches you in the gut and you just sit there in awe of it. One of those is Moonlight. That's probably, I'd say Moonlight, dare I say, the best film ever made. That movie, wow. I was so like stunned after I watched that movie, and it's perfect in every way, in my opinion.
Yeah, that movie is phenomenal. I first watched it freshman year of college, then I watched it again junior year. First time, like, this is an 8. It's pretty great. But it didn't hit me again. So like once I've gone through more pain, I went through like 2 breakups in between watching it again.
Ooh.
And watching this sincere, tender love and this growing pain, always like as a whole, this movie is just, it's so beautiful. And we watched it, first time I watched it was for a class with him actually.
I love it. I first saw it after it won the Oscar for Best Picture with the whole La La Land fiasco. And at that time, like I was still like getting into film and I didn't like fully know like what makes films like work really well, what makes them like not work really well. And so I saw it, I was just like, okay, this is good. I think the structure of it, I think is neat. The 3 actors, I thought that's cool. But I didn't really like fully get it when I first saw it. And then, years pass and I see it again for that class. And then I watch it again, I think during the lockdown, I think. I was just like, oh, now I get it. Now I really like it.
And it's weird when you can watch a movie multiple times and you can keep like appreciating more details as you go on. What's a movie masterpiece for you, Josh?
Similar to you about just staring at a wall after the movie had ended was very recent actually. When I saw Everything Everywhere All at Once, I was so blown away by that film with everything it did that after the film ended, that was the first time in a very long time that I was just like, oh my God, I've just seen something that will never be replicated again. Like everything about it, from its performances to the effects, to the editing, how it's shot, to the story, to its themes, and how it's all delivered is a masterpiece.
So Josh, take a guess. How many visual effects artists do you think worked on the film?
I think I've heard him talk about that was a small VFX company. I'm going to say 10 people.
5.
5?
5 VFX artists in the entire film. You could argue 7 because directors also did some stuff themselves, but actual VFX artists, 5.
What?
That's incredible.
Oh my God.
But no, you have to watch it. Like immediately, you have to watch it. It's so good.
Yeah. The next time I have a day off, which is basically like 3 years from now, probably watching it. No,
it is.
I'm hoping to watch it maybe this Sunday if I have time.
Broke me the best way.
Yeah.
I've not seen a film as sincere as this in genuinely heartwarming, like appreciating life in so many years.
Yeah.
The rock scene.
I think the Daniels are a master at their craft. Like Swiss Army Man is another film that I'm like, this is like almost near perfect, despite like, dead farting corpse, like boner magnet thing. Like it's purposefully supposed to be weird, but it's the deeper themes that are woven within it that make it what it is today.
If people have not watched the movie, you saying boner magnet thing, it's going to sound really weird.
Saying it with context is weird
watching
enough.
The movie is going to be weird.
Yeah. One movie that made me stare blankly afterward was Us. That is a movie like the Jordan Peele's horror film Us is, I think, probably my favorite horror film of all time. And it's because of the ending. I'm not going to spoil the ending, but it does make you rethink the entire film when you're watching it.
Yeah.
Because while it's really, really great until then too, like it's so well done, so well made. It's comedic. It's like great timing on everything. The kills are fantastic. The fear factor is there the entire time. And like the deeper symbolism a lot of it is fantastic with the hands on the world thing, fantastic. But the ending, I wrote a paper on about how it makes you think about good and evil in the world and how deep it really goes and how there is no good and evil, like all these deep themes. Like this film deconstructs horror in a fantastic way. And I want more films to be as bold as this.
I think Jordan Peele is like one of the best auteurs of the modern age. He's only made 2 movies. Like, what a flex, honestly. But yeah, both Get Out and Us were incredible. Nope is like, I'd probably rank it in my top 3 most excited movies. What I mean? I don't know how to word that.
It's weird though, because the Nope trailer and poster do not excite me. But the movie itself is exciting me because I've loved the other 2.
It was so. I'm sorry. Go on.
I was just gonna say it really excites me because it's kind of going back to the marketing for Get Out. Because like when that was marketed, I didn't know what to think of the film, like what it was trying to go for. Because I saw Jordan Peele was making it, I was just like, but he does comedy, right? Am I supposed to take this seriously? Am I not supposed to take it seriously?
Yeah.
This like he's going back to the ambiguity of that. I'm like, okay, I'm trusting you on this. You made 2 really good films. You got my trust here.
Yeah, when they released the poster, I saw the title was Nope, which is just so bold of a title. And then I saw directed by Jordan Peele. I'm like, I'm watching it. I'm watching this movie. You don't need to give me any other advertisements. You don't even need to give me a trailer. I'm watching this movie the week it comes out,
Exactly. So what is another movie masterpiece for you?
Another one I made a video on is Spirited Away. And that movie is like literal magic. It's one of those movies where like you can talk about it all you want, but you just need to experience it. If you haven't watched it, it's an experience more than just watching a movie.
No plot, just vibes.
Yeah, literally.
It was so funny because like what was it, like a year or so ago I watched it for the first time. He didn't give me really context for anything and just let me go into it blind. I'm like, okay, and then I see the pig parents. I'm just like, oh, we're doing this. Cool, let's see what happens next.
And I remember when that scene happened, I said, it gets weirder, go with it.
Yep.
It's so well put together. It shouldn't work. Like on paper, none of it makes sense, but it's beautiful.
Describe 2 different scenes from it, and people will be like, that's in the same movie? And you'll be like, yes, it's in the same movie.
Chihiro is fantastic.
Yeah.
Every character is so well done for it being like the story itself is actually really simple. As a kid, I didn't get it. Like I watched it as a child numerous times. I'm like, this is cool, and I like it. My brother say it's great, so I think it's great.
Yeah.
But when I was an adult watching it, like I didn't watch it in years when I watched it with you. I'm like, this is just like mind-blowingly good.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting that watching it as a kid, like a lot of kids will enjoy it, and it's made through the eyes of a child. And I think that childlike innocence is a big factor in the movie. But watching it as an adult with retrospective of your own childhood makes the movie more impactful somehow.
I also love how anti-capitalist it is.
Oh yeah,
like I love it. The themes of the movie are like about labor and greed, and it's like you're going this deep with this kid. Awesome. And a magic dragon. I want more films, more animated films to be as bold as that was.
Yeah.
How don't hold kids' hands, just let it happen and see how they react and feel. How about you, Josh? What's the next film for you?
I'm torn between just like which one to talk about next.
A lot of options.
I know. I think a movie that really impacted me at a young age, despite like not knowing much about films, The Perks of Being a Wallflower.
Yep.
I saw that when I was 15. I was just like, oh, I'm feeling things right now. It really is one of the few movies about teens that really understands what it is to be a teen and like
Speaking of Ezra Miller,
going through all these things. And yes, despite all of Ezra Miller's things that have happened recently, their performance is one of the standouts of that film. But I think Logan Lerman's performance in that is amazing, and just it's so subtle in so many ways. But like from the way that it's written to how it's directed, it's so good.
It's got Katara in it, Mae Whitman.
Oh, okay. I have not seen it actually, so I'm definitely adding that to my list.
Yeah, Mae Whitman is one of the leads in it, and she's fantastic.
Oh, okay.
It's got Emma Watson, Mae Whitman, Logan Lerman, and Ezra Miller as the 4 leads. Also, Paul Rudd is their teacher.
Yeah. you already got me watching.
It is the best coming of age film I've ever seen.
Mhm.
Wow.
It is it's one of my 10 out of 10s in Letterboxd, and it's one of the films I keep debating. Do I put it in my 4 favorites? But I keep thinking, what would I kick out? None of them. I can't remove Avengers, Princess Bride, Dead Post Society, or Good Will Hunting for this film.
Yeah.
Like another coming of age film, kind of high school film that I think doesn't get enough credit, honestly, is The Breakfast Club.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know it's like, oh, it's so loved and stuff, but it's like damn near perfect.
Yeah.
If they didn't do the makeover on the basket case, I think it'd be phenomenal. Like there'd be no flaws to it to me, because that goes against some of the themes of the film to me. But other than that, really good job for the budget they have, and for literally using one location. That's it. And like there's 7 people in the cast total, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or is it?
It's Skywalker's parents. That's right. There's parents of some kids.
Well, like the main cast.
There's 6 main cast then, and it's so well done. John Hughes does a great job. I like it more than Ferris Bueller personally, but I think if you've not seen Breakfast Club, first of all, how have you missed this film for this amount of time? But also, like, if you want to see a good chemistry in a small cast, this is like the way to watch that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it didn't leave me in awe or anything, but there's few films I think are just so well put together for what it is that it gets the perfect status to me.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
I saw it when I was like a kid. I need to watch
it's
it.
Worth
again.
rewatching.
It does seem, you bring it up and I'm like, I need to rewatch that now, because like I liked it then, but I feel like I appreciate it a lot more now.
Most films work better as adults, honestly.
Yeah. So this one is a perfect film for me, and I think it's partially nostalgia and just like personal connection. But I'm gonna say Jurassic Park, because that movie is what got me interested in filmmaking.
Mhm.
Because after I watched that, I was probably like 6 or 7 or whatever. I was like, that is the coolest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. I'm going to watch every single special features on this movie and article written about this movie and all the ways that they did special effects in it, and just learning about that, the animatronics and then versus the CGI and how they did that sparked my interest in the process of making films. So like the filmmaking itself rather than just enjoying watching it. So that is a really important movie for me because it sparked my interest in filmmaking.
I first watched that in 3D in a theater when I was like 11 or something.
Wow.
And that was a cool experience. I don't really like 3D that much, but like overall, like this is really cool. I don't know if it's masterpiece to me or not. I think it probably is, but I never rated it because I haven't watched it in years.
It's certainly better than Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom.
The new one has a cool premise.
It does, but you guys sit through a terrible sequel to get to that cool premise.
I've only seen Jurassic Park and Jurassic World. I've not seen anything else. I've not seen Jurassic Park 2.
The second and third Jurassic Parks aren't like works of movie magic, but they're enjoyable.
That first film is magical.
Yeah.
It is so well done. Also, great child actors. Like it's rare to get that.
I do think that is. I'm gonna give a lot of credit to Spielberg because I think he is one of the best directors to work with children, like what he did with E.T. and like some of this behind the scenes stuff, seeing how he talks to the children and just the like set, experience that he has for them. I think he brought a really great performance out of them. Not to like, take any of the credit away from them. Of course, they're the ones that did it, but I do think that Spielberg is a great director for children.
Great director, period, honestly.
Yeah.
Only for kids. It is also one of the rare films that, on a terror level, you don't think it was a horror film, but it definitely is a horror film.
Mm-hmm.
And it incites fear in like every scene. So well built together. Jurassic World is not as good.
No. Quarrels with Jurassic World.
I did go on the Jurassic World ride though at Universal. That was fun.
Yeah. Probably better than the movie.
Oh yeah, definitely. How about you, Josh? What's next?
I guess I'll go for the film that really cemented like that film was going to be my path. And that for me is Whiplash. I that for me, I was just like, oh, this is what film is. Oh, now I get the hype behind it. But I fell in love with it. And like, I was a band kid. And so when I saw that, it really spoke a lot to me about everything in that film. But like, even just going back and rewatching it, I'm like, God damn it, this writing, this directing, the acting, it's so well done. I watched that, I think maybe 20 times within like 2 weeks when I first saw it. It became my personality for a bit, but I love it to this day. It's one of my favorite films of all time.
It's really good.
It is really, really good.
J.K. Simmons yelling at Miles Teller is fantastic because Miles Teller has a douchey, punchable face. So yeah. I'd love to yell at him some, honestly. And he made Reed Richards even worse to me. So that's upsetting.
I think Whiplash is another one of those movies where like every part of the filmmaking process is done well. Like the music is amazing, the editing is great, the performances is great, cinematography is great. I think it all works in tandem together.
Yeah, and like it's every scene is works so well to either push the story forward or to show the character's internal like struggles, because like there's a dinner scene in it that at first I never really got, and it's like how he sees himself as what he does is important, but no one else in his family understands or sees that as important, because like they're complaining about like, you know, like, oh, your cousin's football career, like look at how well it's going. He's just like, yeah, but they're in junior league in college, they're not going to go anywhere, they'll be like, you know, working in an office as an accountant in like 5 years, but I'm going to be one of the greatest musicians of all time, but none of you understand it. I'm like, damn, that's great.
It gives very much Jesse Eisenberg in Social Network vibes in that first scene. It's definitely really well done, and it's meant to who his character is very fast.
Yeah. Or like the scene when he breaks up with his girlfriend and the reasons he gives behind it.
Here's one I think we should save for a different time entirely, and that's I don't think it's enough time to talk about how great Lord of the Rings is on here.
No,
I think we much all agree unanimously, masterpiece. Those films.
Yes.
Okay.
Whatever. So horrible. I know you're a big Lord of the Rings fan yourself, Sinjun.
Yes, I am.
So I know we plan in the future doing an episode about Lord of the Rings. You should hop back on and talk about Lord of the Rings then, because we have a lot to say, I feel like. But go on.
I made a movie masterpieces on TikTok for the first two, and I'm gonna do one on the third one. I just wanted to break it up a little bit and not just have 3 videos in a row be that. But honestly, all 3 of them are just so amazing, and I do view them as one big story pretty much. And I don't necessarily rank all 3 of them just because I think they're all work in their own way. I can't even like comprehend how good they are.
For me, I think the third one is the best, but the first is my favorite. I like having them all together. It's fun. National Fellowship.
Last year for its 20th anniversary, the Alamo Drafthouse put them all back in theaters to watch them all, and seeing it in theaters just blew my mind, because when they came out, we were infants, like we couldn't have seen them in theaters. So getting that chance, like I was just like, oh my god, these films are so good. What the fuck?
Well, I mentioned for next masterpiece animated films, because I feel like animated films don't ever get enough credit. And that's specifically WALL-E and Inside Out. I think are both perfect films. I have no qualms with either of those.
I need to give WALL-E another watch. I haven't seen it in years, just seeing it all the way through. But I remember liking it. But as a kid, I was just like, what's this film doing? Like, it's a cute robot, but like, what's it doing? But then like,
what is love?
Then Inside Out is one of those, I saw it when I was 15. I was just like, I'm feeling things again.
Watched Inside Out right after a breakup, and I felt things. I watched Inside Out 3 times in the span of a month, and that was interesting. It's the only movie I've ever seen my dad openly sob at, and like he is in his 60s, and it's like Bing Bong is what got him.
He gets everybody.
And like this, because he was sitting there next to his oldest son and his youngest son, and it's like this is just pain. But WALL-E specifically, the visual storytelling in the first like 40 minutes are beautiful. The dancing in the sky is so gorgeous. The only thing that's weird about the movie is they have an actual live action cameo in the movie from the president. It is live action, and it's really weird.
It is weird. I don't know why they do that.
And also similarly, because we can talk about this forever, I think we all agree Last Jedi is pretty fucking amazing.
I knew it was great. I kind of went with the internet's complaints about Finn's and Rose's story, like on the casino planet, whose name I keep forgetting, that just kind of like broke up the pacing. Then rewatching, I'm just like, it doesn't break up the pacing though, and it's necessary. What is with the internet?
I agree.
Yeah, that's 10 to me.
When I first watched it, I remember coming out of the theater and telling my girlfriend, like, that's the best Star Wars film. And then, like, the week after, I was looking online, I was like, oh, I'm the only one that has this opinion. I guess I should change that. And then I went through like a month or two phase where I was like, oh, maybe The Last Jedi isn't that good. And then I kind of had this reawakening, like, wait a second. No, I did like this movie. Why am I letting these people dictate how I feel?
I watched it on my first date ever
Mhm.
with someone, and they're like, that was fine. I'm like, I love that. And then I'm like, the more I thought, I'm like, well, the internet is like, I was like 17. The internet can change mine a little bit at the time.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
I'm like, I don't know. Is it great? I'm like, yeah, I like it a lot. So I don't have any problem. I like Luke still in this. What? Does everyone hate him? I don't know. And then for years, I'm like, I think it's great. But I don't think it's like the number one yet.
Mhm.
But I
It's
didn't
number one now.
I didn't have a number one at the time. Oh, yeah, it's for me too now. But and then I kept putting it as like an 8 or 9 for years.
Mhm.
And then this rewatch, I'm like, fuck it. I had no problems with it. It's a 10.
Yeah.
So what is another masterpiece in your eyes?
One that I think is probably one of the best sci-fi movies ever made, Arrival.
Ooh,
Yes.
I
Yep.
love Arrival. And that was one of those movies where, like, I was like, oh, Denis Villeneuve, I've heard some good things about him, have no idea what the movie's about, and just threw it on. And then, like, 2 hours later, I was like, oh my God, I need to watch that again. I don't know what just happened. And then I watched it like the next day again. I was like, I kind of know a little bit more, but I'm still confused, but I still think it's amazing. And I've seen it 3 times now, and every single time it's still
I've seen it
amazing.
once all the way through. I watched it in my English class in like junior year of high school. We were talking about like language and how it can change and manipulate and stuff. We watched the movie, and we had to then write a review. Once that ending hits you, it's like, oh my God, okay, all of time and language. Okay, what?
Yeah.
I desperately want to rewatch it. The only Denny films I've seen are that and Dune,
Mhm.
and I want to see Dune again because I am so mixed on Dune. I know you love Dune.
Mhm.
My mind goes, it's okay, it's great, it's terrible, all mixed together.
Yeah.
I don't know where I stand on Dune,
Yeah.
but Arrival just blew me away.
Mm-hmm. And one of my like random interests is linguistics. I love watching videos and like reading stuff on it. And I watched Arrival like after I was finished reading this thing about changing your perception on language and that it's not just words and that it's more just portraying concepts. And I thought that was really interesting. And then like the next day I watched Arrival, and it couldn't have been more perfectly timed with that movie.
Josh, thoughts on Arrival?
Absolutely love it. I've actually only seen it one time, but I've owned it for years, and I'm like, I need to rewatch this. And for some reason, I don't. But like, there's so much of the movie that has constantly just stuck in my brain and has never left.
Same.
Like the opening alone, like, is just perfect, and then the ending, when I finally got, I was just like, oh my God, that's so cool.
Also, we have Lois Lane and Hawkeye in it, so that's fun.
Mm-hmm.
Josh, how about you? What's another one?
I'll go for another Denny film, and that's Blade Runner 2049.
No, it's next to you.
Look, we talked about Arrival, so it was going to happen. But that, to me, I think is better than the first film, which I know is a controversial thing to say.
Words.
Yes, words are hard. Everything from not just a technical standpoint, but from its story to its characters to how it's directed, it is unlike any other sci-fi film.
But Jared Leto's in it.
You know, surprisingly, that doesn't destroy the film. Well, I thought it was when I first saw it. It doesn't, which is a weird thing.
That's what I hear so much, is that Jared Leto somehow doesn't ruin the whole movie. And so I'm like, okay, maybe I'll check it out.
If you want an actual good performance from Jared Leto, I know it's hard to say. Dallas Buyers Club.
Oh yeah, Dallas Buyers Club is good.
But yes, and I think that for you, for finding your love for Dune, I think you need to see. I think you need to see Blade Runner 2049.
I think I need to see the other half of the movie first.
Okay, see the first film also. The first film is good as well.
No, I'm saying part 2 of Dune will give me more love for Dune. Because watching half movie to me, I can't know if I have feel the whole movie yet because it's part 1, 2.
Aside from that, though, Blade Runner 2049, I've been telling you for years you need to watch it. It is very, very good.
I love good movies. Denny I like his visual style a lot.
Oh my god, it's so good. Like 2049, my
It
brain is
did-
just going back to it.
It did blind me in Dune in watching in Dolby from bright sands to dark room constantly back and forth. But other than that, it was very pretty.
When I watched Dune in theaters, the theater that I went to isn't the greatest, and the lights like didn't turn all the way down.
Oh,
in it.
no.
So a lot of the dark scenes, I just could not tell what happened in a lot of them, and I'm like, did a character just die then? Like, I feel like what's going on? And then it's like bright sand again. I'm like, I don't know what just happened.
I could just give for perfect films all of Edgar Wright, but I'll give one specifically, and that is Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Oh yeah,
Oh my god, every
Mhm.
piece of that film comes together beautifully.
yeah.
Every scene is memeable, first off. It's so well put together. The visual language of the film is insane. Like what is real, what's not, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And I love that. One of my favorite things in the entire movie is simply just the first off, vegan police, but specifically this moment where it's the way Edgar Wright shoots his visual storytelling. It's what's his roommate's name? What's his roommate's name? Doesn't matter. Kieran Culkin's his actor. So Knives comes up the door and it's hey, is Scott here? Breaks through the window, just left. And it's fantastic.
That's
Yeah,
one of
that
my favorite
seems
parts of the film. But I think my favorite section of the film is Chris Evans.
Lucas Lee.
Yes.
Lucas Lee. And it's solely because I've seen him as Captain America now. So to see him just do a complete 180 and be this ultra douche, it's so funny to me.
And the fact that he came out like literally is it the same year or a year apart?
A year apart.
A year apart. Yeah. So he was shooting Captain America as this was coming out, and that's
Mhm.
phenomenal. Yeah, I love Scott Pilgrim. I love I know people I know hate Scott as a character. I'm like, yes, that's the point. He's
Yeah.
a person.
I think Michael Cera was perfectly cast in that movie.
Absolutely.
So much.
I love that you get told how much you look like him. I think it's hilarious to me
Oh yeah.
in your comments.
All the time.
Do you see it at all?
I see it a little bit,
Do you see
but
that? It's a little bit like in like how your face is structured, but like not like overall. Like
No.
I don't see Michael
Yeah.
Cera.
I think you sound more like him than you look.
yeah, I think that's fair. But you guys seen School of Rock, right?
I've not.
I've seen bits and pieces of it.
Yeah, same.
Okay, well, this will be quick. Jack Black's roommate in it, Ned Schlebley. I was just told I look like him, and it's not flattering.
I know
that one kind of hurt me when I was told I look like Ned Schneebly.
But I think one of the best parts of Scott Pilgrim is also you punch the highlights out of her hair. You punch the highlights out of her hair. And that can work and make sense in this insane plot.
Yeah.
Also, the movie has Captain Marvel, Superman, Captain America.
Yeah.
Like a bunch of future superheroes are in this film. So well done.
So one of my favorite new directors right now is Robert Eggers. I love both The Witch and The Lighthouse, and I'm so excited for The Northman. I'm seeing it next week. So I know a lot of people put The Lighthouse over The Witch, but I personally like The Witch more than The Lighthouse, but I think they're both great. So I'm going to say The Witch.
All
Have
right.
you seen it?
I've seen neither. He's seen both.
I've seen The Lighthouse. I love it. I've seen I think the first like 20 minutes or so of The Witch.
Mhm.
And from what I've seen, I really love the style and the atmosphere of it. I still need to finish it though, but I've heard great things of it.
It is really incredible. I think that it's a little more accessible than The Lighthouse. The Lighthouse is very out there, and
Yeah.
similar to The Lighthouse, they talk in that like 1700s, or I know Lighthouse was like late 1800s.
It's a
but-
very specific dialect they speak.
yeah. Well, at the end of the film, they actually say that they constructed the dialogue based off of like writings from Puritans during that time, so it's accurate to that. So I suggest watching it with subtitles on, or it might be a little hard. I cannot remember the actor's name, but the actor that plays the dad in it has this incredible deep voice
Mhm.
that is just so amazing to listen to, even though he's kind of scary in it. But yeah, the visual styles that Robert makes in these movies is phenomenal. I know A24 horror movies can get a lot of slack for being a little overly pretentious, and Robert can be a little pretentious with his. I'll admit that, but I'm okay with this level of pretentiousness.
I love that on the poster for The Northman. Robert Eggert is written on there 3 times on every poster.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, a little pretentious, a little egotistical, but like, sure, why not? I'm gonna see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have not seen any of those films yet. I desperately want to watch The Lighthouse.
I wanted to show him The Lighthouse before the Batman just to get him a different perspective on Robert Pattinson.
Yeah.
Only Pattinson films so far have been Good Time, The Batman, and Harry Potter.
Mm-hmm.
He's good in all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting to see Robert Pattinson in The Lighthouse. And
I've seen the dancing scene around the table.
Oh,
yeah.
That's a weird scene.
That doesn't even begin.
No, I know. I've still seen some pretty crazy Willem Dafoe moments now, like clips from.
Mm-hmm.
He goes insane, it looks like, in that movie.
Oh, yes.
But Willem Dafoe in The Lighthouse it's so incredible how good his performance is in that. I love him in The Lighthouse.
I love him, period.
Yeah.
Another one that's off the top of my head would be Greta Gerwig's Little Women. I love that film so much. I've never seen any version of Little Women before. I never read the book, so I went in pretty blind, and I just heard it was good. I'm like, I guess I'll go see this. And halfway through, I'm just like bawling my eyes out. I'm like, why is this affecting me so much? It's so immaculately crafted, the way the narrative plays out, but not just that, the performances, the characters, it's all done so well. I love it so much.
I have only watched the 90s one, and I've seen it on stage, and I also just know the story beforehand. Also, the show Friends references it, and make Joey very sad if you watch Friends. But I love the 94 one with Winona Ryder and Kirsten Dunst.
This one will probably top that.
The story itself is fantastic. I think Greta Gerwig is a good director. Lady Bird is fantastic.
That's one of those movies. It's like one of my roommate's favorite movies, and he keeps telling me to watch it. And it's like at the top of my watch list. I'm like, I want to watch it. I just have never watched it yet, but it's very high up. I also liked
my watch list is huge.
Yeah.
Here's one that really surprised me by how much I loved it, and that's Where the Wild Things Are.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Spike Jonze, who also made Her, also beautiful film.
Mm-hmm.
He also was a producer on Jackass.
Not just a producer, he also wrote some of the things they did on Jackass, and not just from when it started up to the most recent movie that just came out. And when I saw that produced by credit, when I saw Jackass Forever, I kind of died a little bit inside. I don't know. It was very weird.
But Where the Wild Things Are is a movie that is, if you've read the children's book, like the 10-page book, the book is meant to be a deal with themes of like identity and anger and like these hard emotions as a child, and like they're your wild things, all your emotions, and helping control yourself and all that, and go on top of it. But this movie broke me. I was sobbing when not expecting to cry at all.
Yeah,
like, this looks like a cute film, whatever. And there's moments there's just like there's lines like, I'm Max, and then one of the wild things like, that's it? That's not very much, is it? And I'm like, oh God, the smallest moments break me so much here.
Yeah.
Not very much. Oh no, you just made him think about his entire identity in one line. Good job, Spike. Beautiful movie. It's so fascinating and wondrous, and the way that they all interact it's so well. Like, watching childhood depicted on screen like this rarely happens, where it feels like this ethereal time where nothing feels completely real or alive yet. Watch this movie.
Yeah, Spike Jonze. Cool. Spike Jonze has such this like idiosyncratic style that's like really interesting, and I've seen Her, Being John Malkovich, and Where the Wild Things Are, and they're really interesting, and they seem to take these very abstract concepts or very like high concepts that don't seem like they would translate very well into a film, but he somehow makes it work. And honestly, adapting Where the Wild Things Are is such a ballsy move. Like, I wouldn't know how to adapt that into a movie, but he did it, and it's incredible.
Yeah, I saw this in theaters when I think I was 9 when it came out. I did not get it at all because I thought it was going to be like the book, like very simple and not complex. And like I didn't get at all what it was going for. And it also like creeped me out a bit at certain times. And I was just like, I'm not liking this experience. Then I go back and I watch it like a year ago. I'm just like, oh, now I get it. It wasn't really made for children to see because they won't get it at all.
Well, it's funny, the book itself is also really complex, but then children to see the shallow monsters. That's all it's like. It's just.
Yeah, I had the same reaction. I watched it when it came out in like 2009 or something. Yeah. And I was like, what? And then I watched it like a few years ago again, and it just like clicked, and it was like, oh my God.
Great film. And Sinjun, do you have a last one to say before we move on to the next topic?
Sure. So this might not be a universal masterpiece, but as someone who is a huge fan of horror.
Yep, I knew you were going to say.
I think, see, there's two that I think are a masterpiece. There's Halloween and the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I think both of them are masterpieces in their own right. I'm going to talk about the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Okay.
Because I feel like it gets more of a bad rap than it deserves. I think people think it's much more, brutal and like it is disturbing, but much more bloody and gory and grueling than it actually is. But I think the reason people think that is because the filmmaker did such a good job with it. Tobe Hooper shot it so well. There's actually like one scene with blood in it. There's not a lot of blood. There's not a lot of gore in it. There's one scene where Leatherface cuts himself on the leg, and I'm pretty sure that's the only scene with like a lot of blood in it. It's surprisingly tame, but it's just shot in this very like, it blends like art house cinematography with like documentary shooting. So it makes it feel like it's a real event, and it says based on true events. Not really, but it's this documentary style makes it feel like they're documenting this insane event that happened. And I think stylistically it's one of the best. It is arguably the best horror movie ever made.
Okay, I've not seen it. Have you seen the new one by Netflix's new movie?
Yes. I have.
Did it upset you?
Yes. It upset me.
The trailer was enough for me to be like, yeah, no, I already can tell this is gonna be bad.
Yeah.
So I know you also love the first Halloween.
Yes.
We don't love it.
Okay. How does it feel to be wrong?
I have mixed feelings on it. But
we watched it for the first time together, or is it your first time or no?
That was my first time seeing it all the way through.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But
we watched it around Halloween.
But like I can see like the craft behind it. And
yeah.
Like it's kind of, you got it, especially in today's time, like when you have so many amazing horror films that have been made since then, you kind of have to go with the perspective of seeing like when it came out, that was the first of its kind and how much it influenced everything else that came after it. And I think we kind of viewed it more from the today perspective of it. And so I think the next time we go through, we kind of had to turn that part of our brain off and turn it on, just like look at it for what it is.
I was trying to do that. I was just not scared enough. Like I didn't think the fear factor was there strong enough for me. I could think if I was in a theater when it came out, I definitely would be a lot scarier. But like in general, first off, I know John Carpenter wrote the score for it, but using the same score the entire time really pulled me out. Like the same few chords, like the entire time. Like okay, it reminded me of Zack Snyder Justice League, the Wonder Woman theme that was constantly used of the chanting.
Yeah.
Like, okay, take a second. Any other notes, please? Like I think it's a bit dated for sure, but it's still well made.
Yeah. I think that one of the things going for me and why I like it so much is it was the first horror movie I ever saw. And I was probably like 8 or 9 when I saw it. So I think that has an influence on why I love it so much. Because it was like my first introduction into the horror genre. And it was also a lot of people in the 70s introduction into the horror genre. So I think that's why it doesn't feel as dated. And last Halloween, I showed it to my fiance and she hated it. She was like, that was stupid. Michael Myers isn't scary. He just walks at people, like just walk faster than him. I'm like,
my thing is also teleporting. Like he's clearly teleporting.
More Halloween kills.
Oh my god, he teleports so much in Halloween Kills.
I will say that original Halloween a lot better than Halloween Kills.
But Halloween Kills, I think is more fun to watch for me.
Is that a good thing?
I don't know.
I hate Halloween Kills so much.
It's not good.
I gave it half a star on Letterboxd. That movie made me irrationally angry in the theater.
See, I think Halloween Kills is a great comedy.
Yeah, it was hilarious. If I hear Evil Dies Tonight one more time, I think my brain's gonna explode. Oh my gosh.
Shoot him in the head at the end. That might help you a bit.
We actually did an episode of the podcast about Halloween Kills specifically because we watched the first Halloween, then we watched 2018 Halloween, and then we watched that one like in the span of a week, or I think 3 days, whatever. And like, I love 2018's Halloween so much.
Yeah, it's the best of the sequels, I'd say.
I think it is an amazing. Like, what's weird to me is I'm not loving any of these films, like absolutely loving them individually, but like now I'm kind of obsessed with the lore of Michael Myers, and I want to dive into the weirdness, like him and Laurie Strode's whole dynamic. That's nonsense. Yeah, I know. I did a lot of research into it because for the podcast, I talked the timelines and how it's so confusing and muddled. Weird.
You need a graph in order to understand the Halloween.
I drew a chart.
Yeah, a flow chart for it.
Yeah, I can understand that being a masterpiece though. The first one, I definitely can. It's just for me, I don't think it doesn't hit me as hard as I think it would want it to.
Yeah.
Also, the idea of this he doesn't look intimidating in the mask in that movie to me. Just that mask, there's a jumpsuit like this while around. Well, I have a theory that he doesn't know how to drive or how to reverse, because in all of the movies he's in a car, he never goes backward. He just stops and goes forward again and loops around because he can't drive backwards. He never learned how.
He never went to driver's ed,
right?
So I get it. Going forward, easy.
He stops, he's just like, how do I go back? How do I go back? Just
That's our podcast today, y'all. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. Sinjun, where can people find you?
So on TikTok, it's Sinjun_Chapman. And then on YouTube, it's Sinjun Chapman.
Crazy.
Pretty easy.
And you also can all email into the show at podgeekspeak@gmail.com or tweet at us at geekspeakpod or #geekspeakpod. We will reply to all your comments, questions, concerns. If you just want to bully us, that's fine. We'll respond to it on the podcast in a very kind way and thanking you all.
I did not agree to the bullying.
I will bully you anyway, Josh.
I'm not agreeing to this.
And you can find Josh where?
TikTok at Rudy_the Film Nerd. YouTube, Josh Rudolph.
Every place he has a platform on is a different name.
Because it's all started at random different times.
I am on TikTok, That Nerd Theater. I am on Instagram, That Nerd Theater. On Twitter, I'm The Theater Nerd because That Nerd Theater couldn't fit. Thank you so much for listening. Have a great day and watch these amazing films I mentioned earlier. Go check out these films. If you want to hear more about movie masterpieces, Sinjun has a whole series on it on his TikTok. Go check that out. Thank you. Bye.